talking all that junk. They call us out. We really number one.
On that highlight, they rewind me, they come and find me, and then invite me to wine. See, I came for MVP to have a whole league behind me. Done played in big places like IMG. Hey, you battle tested, you ain't bad at test. Come and play against the best and from the generation next. Hey, hopping all on Facebook, not going for that flex. When a tough game get set, we do our best to try to pull up where they at. Hey, you ain't get no invite, just sitting around hanging. What you thinking? You ain't in if you ain't in them power rankings. Hey, yeah, it get lit. Hey, hotter than the summer. Hey, try again next year, you might get a call from Jonah. Hey, but it ain't no way, you gotta come outside.
Welcome back to Football Uncut. Of course, I'm Jonah Willett, my partner in crime, Clayton Guillory. A special night. Tonight is invite night. This is what we kind of rev up for all the way from June and July. When we get into this time of the year, we talk about October, November. The cream rises to the top, and this year will be no exception as we get ready for YNC. We start getting and focusing and honing on some of these teams, Clay, that really did some exceptional business. They stood on business, and then they really just making themselves really available to be, for the chase of a national championship. Coming down this, before December. First week in December, Clay, is going to be super special. The top teams in the country gathering in one spot to get it down for another YNC championship.
Jonah, man, and remember, man, lock in your dates if you're a little bit unsure. YNC goes down in Wellington, Florida, December 4th through the 10th, getting everything started on that Monday with certification. Remember, guys, certification is going to start early that morning, so plan on coming in on that Sunday, December 3rd, right? Don't try to plan to come in same day as Monday because you're going to miss your certification window. Not to mention we have the mandatory coaches meeting that we always have after certification, and then that's when we release the brackets, matchups, field times, which field location, everything like that. Now, pool play game, or let me rephrase that, not pool play, bracket play games, right? Bracket play games will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And don't forget, if you have a bad day, not a big deal. If you play bad Tuesday, you can still bounce back. We're a 2-game guarantee event. We have a consolation bracket, and you play all the way through to the consolation championship if you keep winning. And then obviously, if you're undefeated on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, right, then Friday is your rest day and it's your media day. And that's the thing, man. This media day we did last year, man, it was bonkers, right? Man, fireworks everywhere. Jonah up there looking like he in the WWE match, trying to keep people from from arguing, man. AG on the ones and twos, doing what he do best,
Yeah,
man. I'm gonna be honest with you, Jonah. That's probably my. It's the funnest day for me because I get to rest, but just the
right,
entertainment, bro. The entertainment
man.
is second
Yeah,
to
man.
none. And then, of course, we're going to have those national championship games. 6U, 7U, 8U, 9U, and 10U will be on Saturday. 11U, 12U, 13U, and 14U will be on Sunday. This year, guys, remember this. Everything is going to be in Palm Beach County, from the certification to the bracket play games to the media day to the national championship games. All are going to be in the Wellington, Palm Beach area, guys. So make sure you plan accordingly with your travel and everything like that, man. But, man, Jonah, I'm super excited. As you know, this is always the busy part of this process, man. Releasing
Yeah.
invites, researching teams. Now this year, I got to confirm that they've turned their roster in Zorts, and I'm cross-referencing to make sure before we send the invite. And what you guys are going to see tonight, as we release these invites, we're going to release 21 invites tonight. But what we're also going to do is we're going to take a look at each bracket if the YNC was to start today. But we're not going to do it just based off ranking, right? We're going to do it based off ranking. We're going to do it based off who turned in a roster. And then me and Jonah tend to make some phone calls and dig a little bit to know if we wasting the invite or we not wasting the invite. So these brackets are also built on teams that we know or we've got very, very good intel from that says, hey, they may decide to go to a different platform. They're not going to go Y and C. So in the past, we've always just put the brackets up, our what if brackets about these are the top teams. If everybody comes to Y and C, we're not going to waste your time with that no more, man. We're doing a little extra homework, a little extra digging. And when you see these brackets tonight, these are people that I'm not going to say they've confirmed they're going to be there, but they hadn't told Jonah and I that they don't want to be part of the YNC. I put it like that.
Well, and listen, these brackets can definitely change. There's a lot of football still to be played. We're in October, so one thing that we would definitely want to give you is disclosure. These can change. You got to win all the way through. You can't just say because you're getting an invite tonight that all of a sudden, man, hey, I'm there in the national championship. Oh man,
Very
we was
true.
watching the pre-invite game podcast, and Clay, we know we was already in already, man. What happened? We booked off that night. So listen, you still got to play football.
You do.
And here's the thing, Clay, that I think you and I really have to address before getting into this and how we got to this day about uploading the Zorts and making sure that you have a structure when it comes down to doing what we do. So Clay, we would hear when YNC first launched, man, we like these other platforms. They feel a little bit more organized. They feel a little bit more structured. Do we feel that YNC is just a tournament because you don't get to play through your state, through your regionals, and qualify? Okay, they're not legit. It's not okay. Well, listen, Clay. If you notice, a lot of our rules are NCAA. All the way until when how you kick the football, how we have overtime. We really modeled the YNC at the NCAA rules, right? So then I
Yes.
guess NCAA is not. They're not legit or they're not structured. They don't have organization. Because I always tell you this, Clay. Let's bring out regionals. Whenever have you seen Division I football? Let's take Florida for an example. Let's start here. Let's make it make sense. So in Florida, you got University of Miami, you got the Gators, you got Florida State. Those are like your power teams in Florida. Last time I checked, those three teams never had to play a regional to go to a national championship.
Not
Florida
at all.
doesn't play Miami to beat Florida State, and then you take one of those three teams out of that region for them to go play for Division I. I'm going to take it a step further. Let's say SEC. SEC doesn't send a champion. ACC doesn't send a champion. Big 12 doesn't send a champion. Pac-10 doesn't send a champion for them to all go play at a national championship. I can recall a couple years that two teams that are SEC themselves played for a national championship. If you want me to be more specific, Georgia played Alabama. They're both from the SEC. So, Clay, how could two teams from the SEC play for a national championship? Why? Because they focus on getting the best football teams to play for a national champion. No different from YNC. That is the model. Love it or hate it. Love it or leave it. We're not begging you to accept it, but it is our model, and we're gonna ride or die to it. We don't need a regional. We don't need Florida State to play UM, to play the Gators, to go ahead and qualify. That's not what we're on. We're looking for the best football team. So if you keep typing, talking about our structure or we're not more organized, it's because of that, then you riding yourself. You then stop watching Division I football. Second,
You know,
y'all beg.
and
Y'all, hold on, Clay. And y'all beg for structure. Oh, we got to be organized, man. You guys got to be organized. Now we put structure into place. Guys, Clay to his voice hoarse. I'm watching Clay the night before riding on the bus with his team, high school team in the dog. He went live with a hot spot, just trying to get it to y'all. Listen, get your zorts in by midnight tonight. I'm watching this man do it. Get it in by midnight tonight. This is the structure. This is the rules. This is in black and white. We put it in captions. We posted it out. We sent it on Instagram. We put it on Facebook. We put it on all social media over and over and over again. Now the structure's in place. Now it's a
you
problem.
know, so while you was talking, Jonah, I had a couple questions jumped up, and one
Yeah.
thing that I will address. One of the questions was clarification on if the bracket play games and the national championship games are in two different venues. Yes, they are. Right. So the bracket play games would be at Village Park Sports Complex, where it's been for the past two years. Right. And our championship games this year will be at Wellington High School, nice turf stadium. It will be a dope setup as always, because that's just how the YNC does it, right? So if you're in the Wellington to greater West Palm Beach area, you'll be right by the action, all the way from Monday through Sunday in the mix, right? Jonah, several different things, man, that are very important. So let me help you guys with this process right here, all right? Because I want to make sure everybody gets the opportunity to take advantage of their invitation to the YNC, because what has happened is there are several teams that you're going to see tonight not in the bracket because they didn't follow instructions, whether if it's they didn't get their roster in, right? Or, whatever the particular situation is, right? So tonight we will be announcing 21 invitations to the YNC. If your invitation is seen tonight, I know people are going to screenshot it. They're going to put it all over social media, right? That doesn't mean that you are locked in. That means you have been invited. And that goes for everybody, from our returning national champions to somebody who is their very first time here in the YNC. There's still a process. Once seeing it tonight on social media, then within 48 hours, you will receive an email from our selection committee, which will be your official invitation, and it will have instructions and links that you've got to lock in and register your team, or lock in your spot, whether if it's replying to the email or registering with the Zorts link, etc., etc. So whoever your administrative person is for your team or your organization, make sure you get that done, because once that 48-hour window closes, here's what happens. Another set of invitations are extended out, right? Because we can't just hold a spot for a team that is waiting, a couple weeks to decide. We are at the point to where we're almost a month and a half out from the event, and the YNC have to do what's best for our people in letting everyone know in a early enough time so they can take advantage of good discounted travel rates, flights, hotels, Airbnbs, charter buses, whatever the situation is, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Yeah.
as I said, make sure the appropriate administrative person for your team or your organization is on the email and get everything situated, because I'm going to be honest with you, it's a lot of great coaches out there, but a lot of you great coaches suck at administrative duties. And that's why the team mom is so important. That's why the team manager is so important. That's why your organizational leadership or president is so important, guys. So let's make sure we get this thing done, man. Last thing I want to go through, and I've been through this before, we get a week from the event and somebody is saying, Clay, I'm trying to pay our registration, right? I'm trying to pay our registration, but it's saying it's full. Hey, you missed your window. You let your 48 hours expire. You didn't confirm with us. Oh, I completely forgot. Clay, we didn't already book the charter bus, or we didn't already book flights and hotels. What I'm going to tell these
Coming
parents, what
down,
I'm going to
chill
tell
with
these
us.
kids?
Come chill with us in
Hey,
the booth.
come on down, right? You know what I'm saying? I think Jonah might be doing the Generation Next Pajama Jammy Jam one night.
There you
You know what I'm
go.
saying? Hey, Generation Next YNC Pajama Jammy Jam. Come on down, party with Jonah.
Because that's all
Hey,
you're going
man,
to be
and just make
doing.
a vacation of it, because you won't be playing in the YNC if you can't get your administrative
Oh,
stuff completed.
right. So, and Clay, let me address this. and then we'll get onto it. But the house cleaning is super important. So, Clay, I got asked the question the other day. Say, man, it seemed like you guys are forgetting the kids. You guys are getting a little too strict in regards to roster. The kids are suffering for this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you guys need to understand, it is for the protection of the kids. Meaning, the reason the rosters are put in place September 1st is so we don't have the Wild Wild West. What do we mean by that? Teams adding players September 20th, October 1st. And now another team is expired or they just out of the playoffs. Now they're adding kids to it. It's for the protection of not only the integrity of the game, but the protection of your kids. So it's not that we were forgetting kids, but you have to have structure, and those dates are put in place because we know how slick you little coaches can be. You know what I'm saying? Some coaches want to win at all costs. They don't have integrity. They willing to take Johnny off a football team and ain't never played one down with him and think they can just sneak him on the roster. So just so you guys, for people who are new to football or new to the youth football, we put those in place so there's no added players to teams, and it is the true team that you're playing for and representing a national championship. So
Gotta
that's
have
what
it.
that's all about, guys. It's not about we're not forgetting the kids and we're forgetting the babies. It's structure put in place to protect the integrity of the game.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. One thing here is universal. I want you to tell me anybody that's ever come to the YNC, whether if they won the national championship or they was one and done or two and done. Tell me you didn't have a good time, man. It's like a big old family reunion. It's like a block party out there, man. I mean, words can't even explain it. To walk down that YNC tunnel as the sun is setting in South Florida and you see all the ops lined up down that main walkway, and you walking with your bump box beating, and your theme music playing, and your team behind you, and you look down and you see it's like the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You see the stickers with all the previous national champions there, and you telling your boys, man, we gonna put our sticker right here, and you see Clay over there cussing out a parent because they didn't try to come on the field. And you see AG and Jonah up there in the press box going ham. And you see Curtis and Allie over there behind the battle tent selling. And you see Shannon over there pushing them fried lobster tails. Hey man, it's nothing like the wine sea. I promise you, man. It's nothing like it. Just that walkway alone to have your kids play in a first or second round game and you look around the venue and it's standing room only, 2 or 3 rows deep, man. Come on, man. You
And
gotta love
Clay,
it. You gotta love it.
and you know what I really love it? We make these babies celebrities, bro. Say what you want to say. Every YNC champion is known worldwide. Their brand becomes a brand activation at YNC. I don't care if you're from Alabama, from Georgia, from California, for the DMV. Once you win that championship, it's like you ripping open that Superman cape. You understand what I'm saying? And everywhere you go, you know. Now, I'm not going to disrespect any other brand that's out there, but there ain't nobody flossing for our babies like how we floss for our babies. I don't care if it's under the radar. We don't care if it's the live stream vibes. I don't care if Battle doing the recap videos or the photos. Is we go ham from a media standpoint to really activate these baby brands. I can tell you from 6U to 14U, you know everybody who's ever won a YNC championship. I'll ask you this trivia question. Who are the champs elsewhere? Who are they? There's an old saying,
No
Clay.
doubt. No
If
doubt.
a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, did the tree really fall?
Does it really make a sound, Jonah? Does it really make a sound? You know what I'm saying?
So
Does it really make a sound?
one thing I can guarantee, Clay, 2023 champions are going to be the newest, freshest, livest thing on the block this year. And that's what we want to make sure we keep that excitement going. And when we drop that bling on them babies and they putting it around their neck, they putting the key to the city, they putting on the ring, it gives the parents a sense of pride, man. You know what I'm saying? Because here's what I would say, all jokes aside, you know your kids went through a gauntlet and deserve to be named the best of the best. You know it wasn't no Lulu approach. You know you ain't just have to go beat a team that you never heard of from because we're filling in space. And oh yeah, Clay, let me address this. So I used to hear the word associated with YNC money grab, right? We cleaning house tonight, bro. We finna have church, right? So if that was the case, then Clay, we honestly, if you and I and the rest of our team sat down and said, man, let's make this the biggest national championship that the earth have ever seen. Fam, we could do D1, 2, 3, 4, D4, and load it up with 300 teams because God has blessed us with, we kiss the babies, we go out, we shake hands. We're not untouchable. We want to, we get out to make sure we can grow the brand. But you see us pull back to make it sure that it's an elite eight. And I know that kind of pissed some people off, Clay, because they want to have involvement. I get it. They want to be there. They
Yeah.
want to come to the show. Just what you said, it's going to be a big party. It's going to be a vibe. And they want to be a part of it. But man, along the way, we can't ever let things like money or registration or gate interfere on what our focus and our goal is. And that's just to have the most elite national championship that there is on the planet Earth. Say what you want to say about us. Say what you want to say about YNC. One thing you're going to guarantee, the competition level is going to be and stay through the roof. So yeah, maybe one day we'll expand it to 10 teams. Maybe that may be next year. This year, 2023, is them 8 teams, and it's going to be elite, elite, elite. So we super excited, man. We glad y'all stayed on for the line, but our motive's going to stay clean. We want the best competition. Nothing else. Man, Clay already rich, man. Clay don't need no money from you, football. Clay riding around in all type of SUVs and vibes like that. So Clay is
Bro,
good. You don't have to worry about
don't
it.
please don't get started. Last time I checked, you and Media Rail and you doing lives in the Bentley Coupe. So come on, bro. I'm
Hey, he
riding
caught me
very
on my lunch
economic
break.
compared to you. I'm riding very economic compared to you. Here's the thing,
Man,
but here's the most important thing, guys. Through all the glitz and glamour, through the we talking about the great atmosphere, the vibe that's second to none at the YNC. Here's the thing you guys need to remember the most right now. Two things. I've already talked about the administrative part of taking advantage of your invitation within the 48-hour window, right? But here's the most important part. And I wrote it here on a piece of paper so I can remember to talk about it. You must keep winning, right? You must keep winning. And here's what you got
that's an
to
old piece of
understand,
paper. I
guys.
saw some old, like that's 1954 paper. Where you got that from?
You must keep. I had to grab something to put my notes on, man. But you must
Got you,
keep
got you.
winning, guys. Just because you get that invitation does not mean that the regular season's over, that you can just lay it down, because Jonah and I have pulled invitations before. And we pulled invitations from teams that already had paid flights, that already had hotels booked. And I can tell you, man, it's the one thing that I hate the most about the process. But just like Jonah said, we modeled after the NCAA. You can go undefeated all year, but you drop 2 at the end. Guess what? You're not in that playoff no more, and that's just how it is, man. That's just how it is. But let's do this, man. Let's do this, man. Let's jump into the 6U, Jonah, because
Let's
man,
do
hey,
it.
we about 755. We finna hit about 800 in a little bit. Hey, you know how it is. Hey, you know how it is, man. They need that blue magic, man. They gotta have it. They gotta have it, brother. So you want me to get? I'll get 6U jumped started, Jonah. So listen,
Jump.
guys. 6U has been a very competitive age level this year, right? And you always know 6U is always the hardest age group to kind of gauge, because for a lot of those babies, that's their first year in tackle. But right
Yeah.
now, the very first YNC Invitational 6U is going to go out to Georgia
Chun chun chun.
Elite Athletes.
Yes,
Georgia
sir.
Elite Athletes out of the A, right? And this is a team, Jonah, that we saw very early in the preseason in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And, Coach Ken told me, he was like, Clayton, my 6U and my 7U is like that, right? And that's hard to do when you've got two young age groups so close together and you almost got the same coaching staff, man. But they've been able to do a good job of it thus far.
Crazy thing is they got 5, 6, and 7 U's, and Ken is coaching all three. I don't know how you got those babies driving them crazy, but as if in regards to YNC, that will be a challenge, man. But like you said,
Most definitely.
congratulations to those 6U GEA.
The second 6U team that's going to receive their YNC invitation tonight Out of the state of Alabama, True Motion Sharks. Now, Jonah, I'm not going to lie to you. This is a team I have not seen up close and in person with my eyes. But from what I see on the film, man, they front line is about that life at 6 years old, man.
Man, it's a team that popped on the scene, just showing you that you can really move up in the ranks. So it's not just going to always be the same teams you hear about. It's a team that moved up in the ranks, had a big win mid-season, and they just been maintaining it from then. Then they ended up playing GEA, just proved that they are consistent, and just showing, that they play Atlanta Elite and showed that they've been consistent. True Motion's for real, man. This is a team that I think is a dark horse. When I would love to see this matchup between GEA and True Motion, man. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh, yeah, most
Motion
definitely.
sharp.
Now,
Yeah,
you
sharp.
guys may say, hey, man, so this next one AG gonna put up, and I'm gonna reiterate to everybody. This is what the YNC would look like bracket-wise if it started today based on ranking, based on teams that have turned in their Zorts rosters, and based on if we've got intel that the team is coming to the YNC or maybe they're going to a different national platform. So, AG, put it on up there, man. Let me talk these people through it. Your first what-ifs bracket illustration for the 6U age level. And
Yes,
as you can
sir.
see right now, if the YNC was to start today, we've got GEA versus Atlanta Elite in the first round. Then on the other side of the bracket, you've got the True Motion Sharks against the Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes. Drop down to the bottom left, you've got the Wahoma Seminoles, or Big Tribe as they call themselves, versus the SED Wolverines. And then back to
Yes,
the
sir.
right, sitting at number 3, you would have the Bessemer Tigers versus the Twin City Outlaws. So a lot of you guys that follow the rankings, you may ask, Clay, what happened to DMV Prime Cheat Code? Jonah and I got very good information that they're going to go to another platform. So that's why you don't see them here on this particular bracket. And then, of course, as we know, anybody could lose at any time. So with some losses, here are the next 4 teams on the map that could possibly jump into the top 8. You have the West
Yeah.
Orlando Jaguars out of Florida. You have Duval Jaguars out of Florida. San Antonio Outlaws out of Texas. And then you have RKE out of North Carolina. If the YNC started today, this is what the bracket would look like. Jonah, how you feel
Right.
about this, man?
Well, listen, it's a lot of room for a lot of motion inside of it. A lot of teams, and here's what we would say. A lot of teams will say, we do in the preseason, we have to gravitate to a national schedule. And then there's some teams that have what they call national play, or they'll have league play. Well, we always got to respect league play. But if you know you're going to be in a league play, and I always tell you this, if you know you got league play, you better get out there early so you can get some national competition in. But as so forth, there's representation. Always remember our focus of why we rank is to get the best 8 teams we feel that compete for a national championship. And so take all emotions out of it, take all of everything else out of it. You got to ask yourself, as football gurus, is this the best 8? And that's how we have to evaluate it. So we'll watch it. We'll keep evaluating. You got to keep winning. And you can't sit on rankings. We won't allow that either. So you got 2 ways you can slip down. Hiding, or trying to hide and not play, and trying to sit on your rankings, or, take an L. Or you can gravitate up into the rankings, playing that competition and knocking somebody out the box. So, man, I'm excited about it. This right here will be a 6U movie. So all I can tell you, man, for these next couple weeks, y'all got to get it in. Get in, get that work, get it in. This is your opportunity to break into these brackets so you guys can play for a national championship.
And guys, here's what you have to remember. When we did these what if brackets, we did it based on those 3 factors. So if this was truly the YNC, one of the things that you wouldn't see is, for example, GEA and Atlanta Elite, because they're from the same state, right? One thing that we've always done is we don't want people to come all the way to Florida and play somebody first round that they could play in their own backyard. So we would tweak it because
Right.
of that. Also, another parameter we have is that if you have played an opponent in the past 30 or 45 days before the start of the YNC, we will tweak a matchup based off of that, right? So just so you know how this thing goes. So I see somebody and there's, oh man, GEA would play Atlanta Elite right out the gate. They could have played that game at home. Very true. And that's why we would hope they would want to play that game at home. But again, We would try to, situate it where it wouldn't work that way. And that's why it's always a big hit at our coaches meeting when these brackets come out, because they, even though we show you guys this, they still never really know how this thing is going to work out, man.
Oh, Clay, according to the world, they finna screenshot this and make it official. This the official bracket. This going down. Ain't no, hey, none of y'all just better get out of it. I'm trying to tell you, this is gonna be official by the morning, bro. Trust me.
All right, AG, man, let's jump on over to the 7U. So, as we get ready to jump into the 7U, man, first 7U team to receive their YNC invitation, Atlanta Elite out of Georgia, right? They are the first 7U team to receive their invitation, ranked number 1 right now. And Jonah, you and I both talked about it, man. This is an age level that from 1 to 8, 1 to 10 really is pretty wide open. It could go any direction.
Man, this age is gonna be a straight movie, man. From the time these kids get off the bus, I'm gonna even tell you before. Listen, the check-in at the check-in play is gonna be a movie. They're gonna be in each other's face. This gonna be you understand what I'm saying? This age group is gonna be so intense, bro. From the coaching
Oh, yeah.
staffs, and that's what I got to tell you about YNC, man. We keep it all clean, but we're gonna have a DJ at the check-ins. You coming to the spot, these kids going ahead cheering it off. We're gonna have the photographer, the big step and repeat. It's gonna be a movie soon as y'all get there, my bro. But this here I would say is one of the most competitive age groups, Clay. I don't have a clear favorite. 8
Yeah,
can knock off 1, 2 can knock off 7, 5 can knock off 3. It's just that type of party at 7 and under, man.
most definitely. All right, so now jumping to our second team on 7U that's going to receive their invitation tonight. These guys can't hit the scene hard. My man hit me and said, Clay, I want in the preseason event, this is what we're going to do. I want to come down to Houston because that's where all the smoke is going to be. And he came down there and represented, man. And that is out of Alabama, the Adamsville Tigers. Congratulations, Adamsville. You guys have your invitation to the YNC. And Jonah, this is a team that ended up meeting Atlanta Elite in the YNC preseason championship in Houston. And I believe after an injury or so, we called the game, and it was 7-0 Atlanta Elite, if my memory serves me correctly.
Toughest defense on 7U you will ever see, Clay. Adamville Tigers, that defense crowds the line of scrimmage, and they're going to dare you to throw the ball. If you don't have a passing game, your running back going to have a long day at the office. Another team, man, that I'm just trying to tell you, 7U is D'd up. It's packed. Congratulations to the Tigers, man. Welcome to the show.
Now, as you mentioned, this 7U is loaded to the top. So the what if bracket, as we shoot that thing up, AG, go and lace them up with this heavy hitter, man. Take a look at this bracket, folks. First round, you got Atlanta Elite versus the Oak Cliff Titans out of Texas. Then if you drop below that, you got a battle of the Texas team. 4 against 5, TNS Cougars versus the Space City. That's Dallas versus, or let me rephrase that. Fort Worth versus Houston. Because Fort Worth, they want to stand on their own as well. Going to my right side, Adamsville Tigers out of Alabama versus Lauderdale Lake Vikings, right? And then when you get to 3 versus 6 matchup, GEA versus Duval Jaguars.
Man.
Now, you look at all that heat. If somebody slips up between now and then, take a look at your next 4 in. You could have the Pompano Chiefs out of Florida. You could have Reb Reeds out of Georgia. Bessemer Tigers, who are defending YNC national champions on this age level. Or you could have them boys coming from the DMV known as Maryland Heat in the mix as well, too. Man.
Yes, sir. And that's the thing about it. That's just showing you something, Clay. You have the defending champs that's trying to squeeze back into this particular bracket. That's just showing you how competitive this bracket is. You got the defending champs. And listen, they came out strong. We saw them in South Carolina. It was a big game between them and GEA. I was on the sidelines for it. GEA said, hey, listen, we had a lot of games that we played that day. They were fresh. That's where they had the loss. And then, Bessemer had a loss, earlier or later in the season. That's where they are now. But don't sleep on Bessemer Tigers just really trying to make a punch in the next 6 weeks. A lot of football left, ladies and gentlemen. So like I tell you,
So
every
now,
game and every down counts.
so everybody, I see the comments. You left off Peter Park Panthers. No, sir, we
Ah,
didn't leave off Peter
why
Park
did you do
Panthers.
why did you do that, Clay? Let them know.
Peter Park Panthers did not turn in a Zort's roster. Now, Peter
Oh,
Park,
Clay.
if you can go in the Zort system and show me that you turned in a roster, please get it to me and we will correct this. But nowhere in the Zort system does it show that Peter Park Panthers turned in a roster. So therefore, I assume they elected that they didn't want to be part of the YNC this year, man. All right, AG. We didn't hit
Man,
him with the
Clay,
hard
you
news on
know,
that. Would you say, Jonah, you know?
man. You know, I'm gonna just say this before we move on to 8U. Like, it's crazy because I know how much these parents invest in these teams traveling and and getting it in. And Peter Park is one of those a very dynamic team, top five to me in my opinion. Um, But man, it's so important to follow through, Clay. And if we don't have structure, and we always talk about these teams standing on business, if YNC itself can't stand on business, then what is YNC? You feel me? So it's unfortunate, and maybe you'll see them play at another platform. We don't know the intent of Peter Park, but man, we still rank the kids. We still give them their flowers. We still show them like, hey, listen, just because you're not playing in the YNC, we still gonna rank you. You know, I saw that on a post the other day. But tonight is different. It's like FUBU, Clay. For us, by us. If you YNC, you YNC on this tonight. You feel me? Ain't no other. We ain't taking it. If we ain't going in here, and if you play over here, that ain't that tonight. Tonight is YNC. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
let's carry on
yeah.
with the show.
All right, man. So let's roll on over to 8U. So now, first team to receive their 8U YNC invite, defending YNC national champion, going for their
Yes, sir.
back-to-back Bessemer Tigers out of Alabama. I mean, Jonah, we watched these guys dominate nationals last year, and they've kept everything rolling this year. Now, I will say this.
Yeah,
I do think 8U is another very competitive age bracket. But
yeah.
right now, man, nobody has yet been able to dethrone the Bessemer Tigers.
Coach Blue doing a great job with those boys, man, keeping it consistent. You know, no matter what state you see him playing, he came out to Charlotte, played, came out there, did his thing, and week in and week out, they're just playing consistent football. At one point, I just really thought the championship rolled between RDU and Bessemer, but then RDU took a loss that just didn't look like themselves, and it had a couple games that they would struggle. But still, don't sleep on RDU. But Bessemer has just played a more consistent season, and therefore, man, congratulations to the Tigers getting the first invite on 8 and under.
Most definitely. Now, as we roll to that second team that gets their invite on 8 and under, hey, down to South Florida, probably right around the corner from your crib, Jonah.
You feel me?
Lauderdale Lake Vikings, also known as Dog Pound, man, my boy Noddy, he say this is his year. When I talked to him a couple days ago, Jonah, he say
Yeah.
this is his year. This is the year the Dog Pound is going to hold up the crystal ball. What do you think, man?
Well, man, they represent the Florida Youth Football League brand to the fullest. So this is a team that's in it every year. We've watched this team grow. We've seen them compete in the national championship. Last year they was this close to just competing into a tight end, and the game was just really one play away from them really advancing to the next game. So they've had all the pieces. They had the coaching. They've had a taste. They see what the YNC quick pace is all about. I expect them to be in the championship game, man. This is a dark horse, but don't count the Vikings out. Dog Pound should be there when it counts. Who their matchup would be? It might be Bessemer, or it might be these other 6 teams that I can tell you can compete for a national championship as well.
Now, like we talked about, 8U is a very competitive age bracket. We're going to put up the what if right now, and as we walk through this thing, you're going to notice one, maybe 2 teams missing, and you know me. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're missing off the list. AG, hit him with that 8U what if. All right. So as you can see right here, first round matchup to my left, defending YNC national champion Bessemer Tigers versus Maryland Elite. And I'm gonna tell you, Jonah, when I saw Maryland Elite in the preseason in the
Yeah,
DMV, man, I was
DMV.
very impressed with them. Very impressed with them. On that same side of the bracket, you have the So Icy boys out of Georgia. Would be battling Twin City Outlaws out of Georgia. So again,
Yep.
man, a Georgia against Georgia matchup right there, if that's how the YNC did things, right? Sitting on my right side, you have Lauderdale Lake Vikings, Dog Pound, versus the Orlando Outlaws, right?
Yeah.
Orlando Outlaws. And then below that, you have sitting at the 3 and 6 spot, Gorilla Mob versus RDU. Now,
That's some fire,
you
man.
may be asking before we get to the next four in, Clay, what happened to the SED Wolverines? Well, we've got really good intel that says on the 8U level, SED is going to go a different platform. So that's why you don't see them on the bracket right now. So your next four in would be DEA out of Texas, Atlanta Elite out of Georgia, Playmakers Elite out of Virginia, and then the Broncos, who just knocked off our RKE this past weekend, man, to get
Yeah.
themselves in the mix.
Yeah.
And so this 8U thing could shape up a lot because the Broncos just knocked RKE smooth off the bracket last weekend.
Yeah. And a lot of people feel that So Icy and Twin City just need to go ahead and get it in right now anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
Hey, go and get it done with, huh?
just go ahead and get it in, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
we were watching this controversial football play that happened, earlier this weekend, Clay, with a baby out on the football field. I got like probably 30
let's
different
talk about
clips.
that, Jonah. Let's talk about that.
Man.
So Icy and Atlanta Elite have a
Yeah.
classic matchup, right?
Battle.
And I guess towards the end of the game, Atlanta Elite is going for the extra point. And I'm not sure if the extra point was going to tie the game or give them the win. But I
It was
do
going to tie
know
it. It was going to be 13-13.
it was going to tie it, okay? So I do know that in the clip there is a baby that walks on the field. But from my understanding, the ref, I guess, didn't count the point or whatever, or didn't count the play or blew it dead or whatever because there was a baby that walked on the field. But from the view I had, the baby had nothing to do with the play.
Nothing,
He was
Clay.
close,
The
but
ref
they
had
didn't run
more something to do
around
with the
him. They
game
didn't
than the
run
baby
into
did.
him. He did not affect the play at all, man. So I'm kind of wondering about that, Jonah. What was the intel that you got?
Man, it was equal as me trying to say, hey, man, listen, there's a cheerleader on that football field over there. Because she was there, we're going to take your point back. Baby had nothing to do with it. The referee was more in the play. The referee wasn't even in the referee box. He was on the hash. You know what I'm saying? You don't usually see a side judge on the hash. He's usually telling coaches, yo, get back because I need this lane. I need this lane to run. This ref looked like he in his 60s. He had to move out the way just for the players to get around him. And that's part of the football field. Well, this baby did walk out probably a yard onto the field, which had nothing to do with it. But it was enough for them to pull the points off the football field, off the board, and impacted the game. You know what I'm saying? So everyone called us up like, hey, man, so Icy won, but, these other people really deserve to be ranked up there. We feel that they're top teams. So listen, man, we saw the clips. But you still got to win or lose. We can't get involved in the politics of referees. We can't decide those things. But our eyes are on both of these teams. We're watching them. You see them on the list, so that you just got to let the games play out. But yeah, so Icy Twin City, y'all just go ahead and get it in. Let's clear up some of these state rivalries. I'm still gonna harp back and I'm gonna rewind to 6U. There's no way that we should not have an Atlanta Elite not playing GEA already, man. Y'all stop talking about let's wait the Nationals. Nah, man. Y'all bang that out. Give the city what they want. Shit.
Hey, Jonah, while we talking about the baby and the ref thing, you know what somebody put on there?
Yeah.
They said it was Vernon out there reffing. Come on, man. Vernon strikes
Wow.
again.
I can believe it.
Vernon strikes again.
After we got Vernon the Bath and Beyond membership, he back out there again. Just though we got rid of Vern, man.
My man Vernon strikes again. Oh
Man, oh
man.
man, oh man.
All right, AG, let's keep rolling, brother. Let's take it on to the 9U. I'm sure when you talk about the first 9U YNC invite, it's not hard to identify who it's going to be. After all, they are the cover boys on the invite this year. So let's go on and get it out the
Uh-oh.
way. First 9U YNC invite goes to Atlanta Elite Voodoo, three-time defending YNC national champions, man. And I mean, Jonah, I've never been in this situation, but how dope is it to get an invite to the national championship and your picture is on the invitation of the national championship, Jonah?
Well, man, listen, their play says it all. Shout out to this coaching staff. This past weekend, this 9U team went and played one of the top 10U teams in the country just to get in some work. Talking about coaches
Yep.
that got nuts. Man, I'm just trying to tell you. I don't mean to just kind of go like that, but it just go against all these other coaches who won't even play each other in the city. Not only these people playing the people in the city, not only they lining up with Rare City, Twin City, they're not scared
Mm-hmm.
about it. Win, lose, or draw, them people getting it out for the city. And congratulations. I can guarantee you one thing about this special group of kids, Clay. Do you see these faces over there? This
Yep.
9U team. When they get in
Yep.
high school and they get in college, no fear is gonna be in their blood. Because Banner
At
ain't
all.
allowing it.
At all.
He ain't allowing it. He getting that all out of them right now. Coaches, it ain't about you no more. You shot your shot. You never putting on a helmet again. You never putting on a jersey again. Let these babies have their stage. Who cares about your ego? I'm telling you, let the city get the game. I'm going to call it out again, Clay. You want me to say the two teams for you again? Because I'm going to call it out. And I never had to call out two teams on Football Uncut, Generation X, YNC, GEA, Atlanta Elite. Get it in. Stop playing with these people, man. I'm going to call you out direct. Don't have me call coaches by name. I'm going to leave you at your teams. Next week, if it ain't happening, I'm going to have to go names. AG, I need you to get me a good picture of the head coach of GEA. I need you to give me a good picture of the head coach, Atlanta Elite. Get it prepped for next week if we can't get this going. We're going to do a special on them next week. All right, go ahead, Clay. I ain't
What
doing that. Back to
what
regular.
Jonah, since you're on your soapbox of dominant teams that need to play each other in the same city, you can get on that soapbox here in 9U because the number 2 team that's getting their invite right now in 9U is the Division 2 YNC defending national champion, and that is RDU out of Atlanta, Georgia. Jonah, why haven't we seen Voodoo versus RDU yet on the 9U level?
Well, we have, coach, and it didn't go so well for RDU. It didn't go so
Did they
well
play this year?
for
Did
them.
I miss that?
Oh
They played
Lord, did
already?
they? Well, Voodoo played.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I retract my statement then. They played already. I retract my statement. Hey, players fuck up too.
Hey, let me
So
not trip on. Let me not trip on Coach. Let me not trip on RDU. Look, nah, I'm not even gonna trip on y'all because y'all played the game. Y'all knew what Voodoo brought to the table. But look, in RDU's defense, they was just getting that team together, man. And Atlanta Elite Voodoo's been together for 3 years already, Clay. So they were still
yeah,
working on continuity, getting the team together. That RDU team is a different team. When they got out to Texas, they showed it. They displayed it. That team is gelled a
no, they
lot. And
did. They
next
did.
time these two teams, it should be a lot more competitive, man. It should be a lot more competitive.
And the one thing that they did it in that Texas heat in July and August. And I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
man, anybody can say it's hot everywhere else, but even the parents from Atlanta was like, "Ooh, shit, I'm ready to get back to Atlanta.
Nah,
This
it
heat
was
right
hot.
here is biblical." So,
It
so
was hot.
man, yeah, it was going down. But AG, man, let's go on and jump into the what if bracket for 9U, man, and address some of these rumors of who doing what and this and that. So, if the YNC was to start today, this is what the what if would look like. On the left side, you got Voodoo versus the West Orlando Jaguars, first round. Then, from the 4-5 matchup, you have the Crescent City Chargers versus Legacy U out of Ohio. On your right side, RDU versus CBE Sawboys with the 2-7 spot. And then
Right,
on
Ohio.
9U, right there at the bottom on the right, the 3-6 spot, SED Wolverines versus the Indy Firehawks. Now,
I
who are
like
the
it.
next four in if somebody slips up along the way? You've got the Bessemer Tigers out of Alabama. You've got Space City Bad Boys out of Texas. You've got the Upstate Titans out of South Carolina. And then you got Louisville Prime out of Kentucky. Jonah, man, who's your favorite on this thing right here? Outside of Voodoo and RDU. Who's your next pick outside of RDU, Voodoo and RDU in this bracket?
Well, listen, a dark horse, and I've seen them play. They took a loss that weekend, but they were the first ones who really just kind of dethroned, the big, teams that when they knocked off Prime. So I was like, man, listen, I like the Chargers. I really like how the Chargers came out there. They were aggressive. They played tough in Texas, and they took a loss that weekend, but they've bounced back. I think they learned a lot from that weekend. They got kind of big headed, man. When they knocked 8 of those boys off, they was like feeling like that was a big game, and the next day they came back and bounced back. So that's my dark horse, man. I like Voodoo to really just run the table. RDU, I want to see them get past their big brothers. You know how they're going to compete to them. But outside of that, look for the Chargers to try to make some noise.
Here's the thing that's going to be crazy. Next weekend, or should I say Halloween weekend at the Halloween Massacre, shout out to my man Sidney Harris. If you're looking for games, guys, or you want to get a big national matchup, get with Sidney Harris, Eric Oubre. They've got the Halloween Massacre going down in New Orleans. But he's got Voodoo versus SED and SED versus Crescent City Chargers. I believe
Oh
that's it. Or
man,
is it Voodoo? I know Voodoo and SED playing, and I think SED and Crescent City or Voodoo and Crescent City. Anywhere it goes, you got three of the top 4 in the country right there, and they all playing each other, man. So after that
that's
weekend,
huge.
this whole thing could change, bro.
No, you're right, Clay, and I'll be real with you. And I didn't realize that on sitting on the right hand side as the Party Boys. Party Boys been doing it strong for the last 2 years. We've been watching them since they were on the 7U, and that 7U and 8U. And now this year is a year they could really do some damage. I mean, they're the best thing
Okay,
coming
so
out of
listen.
Texas right now.
So Sydney just dropped it in here, and so did Tony. So Voodoo is
Okay,
gonna play SED and Crescent City. RDU is gonna play Crescent City. So you got the top 4 teams in the country gonna be at the same event Halloween weekend, really getting it going before they even get to YNC.
wow,
Man, that's what I'm talking
wow.
about.
Well, hey, respect to all those teams, man. We only got to show love for teams that's willing to go ahead and put in that work, man. Put in that work, only get respect. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll tell you what, Clay, we got to respect that these teams willing to put them on the line. And when you're looking and evaluating teams like that, you can't really drop them low in the rankings, win, lose, or draw, because it's other teams who just want to sit back and watch these teams play each other and think, oh, they're going to all knock each other off and we're going to move up. Scary boy. Get to the back of the line.
Scary boy,
Yeah.
huh? All right. So let's keep this thing rolling, man. So I think we've been doing pretty good so far, Jonah. I ain't seen
Yeah.
too many
Yeah.
complaints online. You know,
Yeah.
you can tell the
These,
parents that was just here
these
for the
old
younger
folks just
age
want to
group.
get to bed before 11:30. They just want you to keep it rolling. That's it.
Hey, that's what I was going to say, man. You can tell the people that was here for the younger age groups because we was over 900 views. Now we done dropped right to
Right.
800. They going to sleep as we
Right.
go
Right.
through each age level, man. They
They out
jumping
of here.
off. All right. So now as we roll to 10, you guys, number one invite or first invite on 10U. And I was very impressed with this team because they are the defending YNC national champion. We've seen some people play one age level up, but this past weekend I watched them play 2 age levels up as they played a 12U, then played the
Crazy.
number 4 10U team in the country. The very next day,
Crazy.
shout out to the Georgia Eagles, man, as they received the first 10U invitation to this year's Youth National Championship, bro.
Clay, they deserve it. They recently have separated themselves from the 10U pack just by what they're doing, competing on, like you said, moving up 2 age groups, playing a 12U team, then just how they dominated the number 4 team in the nation. It wasn't a close game. It was dominating. So you're saying, hey, listen, when number one plays number four, it should be a game 14-6, 18-6 at. No, it was not any of that. And so that's just showing you that this team is really just going to another level. I've always said this year, Clay, the difference of the Georgia Eagles is quarterback play. Not just how he's throwing the ball, not just his mechanics and not the execution, but his leadership and him being a general on the football field. Doesn't make too many mistakes, and that offense is really taking on his identity. Georgia Eagles defense have always been tough. But now that the offense is really playing on the next level, it's going to be a tough team to beat, man, with this Georgia Eagle teams. And like I said, 2-2 and number 3. I used to say this a couple weeks ago. I really felt the top 5 teams were playing consistent football. I'm going to take that back. I'm kind of almost saying the top 2 or 3 teams are playing consistent football team, and my 2 and 3 could really be going back and forth. It ain't what it used to be, I can tell you that. So we've been really watching this 10 and underage division closely, but here will be the biggest thing, Clay. Will they take that energy down to Florida, and can they recover quick and play back-to-back games and get through that gauntlet, this 10U gauntlet?
Most definitely. Now, second team on 10U to receive their invite tonight, and this should be no surprise as well to the team that Georgia Eagles have faced in the national championship the past 2 years. Or has it been 3 years? Man, they've been playing each other so much in the championship, I done lost count myself. Rare City out of Georgia as well, too. Congratulations to Rare City on their invitation to 10U. Now, I'm not finna stop there, Jonah. 10U was so dope, man. I think we're gonna drop a third invite tonight on 10U.
Oh man, then put some music. Give me my theme music, like Prime said.
All right, Prime. So here we go. Third invitation, and this one here is gonna send shockwaves across the country. I spoke directly with the coach, made sure we could get everything lined up like it needs to be. They've got the Y&C blessing. I think they may try to do an additional platform as well. And for those teams that are trying to achieve this feat, remember, your team has to be very, very deep. You need to be very particular about the management and the rest of your team, right? And you have to be able to coach very well to pull off 2 platforms at once. But this guy said he thinks his team is ready to do it. Miami Garden Ravens.
Let's do it.
Congratulations to the Miami Garden Ravens. And Jonah, I know you right there in those guys' backyard. And how much tweaking have they been doing since they went to win and play the Georgia Eagles?
Oh man, it's a different team. I think the injury to Rod early in the season kind of really forced them to look outside of being Rod as the main ingredient of the Miami Gardens Ravens offense. They found that they have some other electrifying player. We already knew that Bam was the man for a long time, but now the rest of the Miami Garden Ravens understands that Bam is the man as well. So you got to defend the pass. You got to defend the run. Miami Garden Ravens have opened up their offense and matured a lot in my eyes. And, of course, you know what Dex does on the other side of the football field. He's a whole wrecking machine by itself. Another piece to the puzzle that just makes this age group in Y&C just be a gauntlet. So you could, I don't care what platform you play in, you know, when you come to Y&C and you jump on that Y&C 10U gauntlet, you have to play every single down. No givens there.
Well, now you're talking about a gauntlet. AG, put up here what this what ifs look like, and let me talk everybody through this thing, man, because whoever come out of here definitely going to be the number 1 10U team in the country. So now, opening matchup, you could have the Georgia Eagles versus the Montgomery Gators, a team that they just beat this past weekend. And as you can see, Montgomery Gators was ranked in the top 4, but then with that loss, obviously they had to drop a little bit. Bottom left-hand side, Gainesville United out of Florida versus the OG Ducks. West Coast versus East Coast type vibe right there, man. Rare City in the 2 spot versus the West Orlando Jaguars out of Florida in the 7 spot. And then the third team that we extended the invite to, Miami Garden Ravens in the 3 spot versus Legacy U in the 6 spot. Now, if any of these teams happen to slip up along the way, right, these are the next 4 in. Ali Elite out of Kentucky, the North Philly Blackhawks out of Pennsylvania, Lauderdale Light Vikings out of Florida, Gold-Blooded Titans out of Texas, and another team that is in the mix that, Jonah, we had to put them back in the mix because we had some bad information. We heard they took a third loss, but that third loss was against a 12U team, not a 10U team. So technically,
Correct.
the only losses they have was the one that they took in Atlanta earlier, and then Ali Elite, and that is DEA. Dragon Elite Academy is now back in the mix of possibly jumping back into the YNC on 10U, man. So, Jonah, man, talk to me about this bracket.
Well, man, what would that second round game look like between Rare City and Miami Garden Ravens on that bracket there? You know, not discounting what
Oh,
West Orlando Jazz could do or what Legacy you could do, but man, what would that matchup look like, you know, between Rare City and, you know, would Georgia Eagles take on a Gainesville U or would they take on an OG Ducks and Gators? And listen, in my particular opinion, even though the Gators took a loss to the number one team in the nation, the question you got to ask yourself, are there 7 teams or 6 teams better than the Gators? And I can tell you, even though they took that big L against the Eagles, I don't think there's probably 3 or 4 teams better than the Gators. So as this starts unraveling, we start just tweaking a little bit more, man, this is a crazy age group, man. And if the Eagles hadn't done what they done for the last 3 weeks, I would say this was a lot closer race. But the Eagles just playing a different brand of football. But I'm excited, and I personally have a game that I want to see. And you know, and this could all change, Clay. This could all change
yep.
in the next couple of weeks. But I really would love to see the tough defense of Rare City go up against a Rod and a Bam and see how that shakes out. And then, you know, ultimately we see it's a lot of other matchups that can just really go crazy in there. And, you know, apologies to DEA. You've been a tough team. Lost to a 12U. We got that corrected. So they could get back in the mix of it. So 6 weeks of football, man, a lot can change over here. A lot can change. And listen, let's not discount a lot of teams that still in league play. The Ravens still need to revisit Lauderdale Lakes. We're saying Ravens,
Very
but they have
true.
a tough
Very true.
opponent against the Vikings, and that's a tough FYFL matchup. So make no mistake, man, there's still a lot of football to be played.
And you've got some matchups like Ali Elite and Legacy U, I believe, are playing within the next couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
You know, and DEA, the team that we're talking about that's on the outside trying to work their way back in, they've got a big matchup in a couple weeks against the Southside Ducks, who right now is the undefeated top or one of the top 10 U's in the region as well, too, man. So this entire thing could shift very carefully. And this is where it also goes into a factor of, are you playing good competition? Jonah and I have talked to you guys. We've said it over and over and over again, right? If you're not playing anybody, you could fall in rankings. And this is an age level where that is going to be very, very, very critical.
Clay, I like to sometimes read these comments and I laugh at them, and I like to call names with it too. So Terrence, everybody, let's pay attention to the comments real quick. You know, everybody attention to Derek D. Fisher. Man, get this out of here. All teams is majority from Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and you guys call this a national tournament?
Come on,
so,
man. So,
Terrence,
oh my, Terrence.
Terrence, I forgot
Terrence,
we
Terrence,
left out
Terrence.
we left out Wisconsin. Darn it, man. We left out New Hampshire. And that South Dakota team, Clay. Oh, hold on. What's the Dakota team, bro? We got to make this national. We can't. Let's throw some states in there to give the appearance that it's national. Forget who playing real football. Forget who smashing somebody in the mouth. Forget all of that. Throw all the records and play football because everybody got an opportunity to play each other preseason, regular season. Throw it all out. And let's make it national by just throwing some national teams in there, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Utah got a youth football team that I'm really high on too. My man, check this out, Terrence, because we do this.
Say Terrence.
Playboy, you want to get it started? Everybody look on Terrence D. Fisher comment. And it's not coincidence that we see Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, all the way up at collegiate level. You understand what I'm saying? These kids happen to work and they happen to get it in. We don't discriminate. We don't lock down specific states, but these are the teams that if you feel you got, why don't you get you a team out of pick a state, Clay? Give me a state. What you want? You want a team out of where? Nebraska,
Montana. Montana.
Montana. Terrence, tell you what, strap you up some jits from Montana next year. Get you 35 kids. Get them from all around the city and come play Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alabama, and see if you go 0-5. If you happen to get one win with your Montana Jits, I'm going to take back everything I said tonight and give you the floor, give you the special, and let you run with it. But until then, Terrence, ride with the national vibe. This is the true national championship. Back to the regular
You know,
scheduled program, Clay.
speaking to Terrence's comments, right? I was actually looking at this last night as we were strolling through it, right? And I don't remember the exact numbers, but I believe Georgia led the way with like 17 teams. I think Florida was second with 16, and then Texas was third with like 8. Alabama had 7, right? And then you had Ohio in there, you had Pennsylvania in there, you had Maryland in there, New Jersey, New York, and so on and
DMV,
so on, all the different
yeah.
states. In the possible brackets, not the next 4 and in, but in the possible brackets, I believe there were, I want to say 13 to 14 different states represented in possible what if bracket scenarios. And then of course you had some states, that had multiple, such as, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Florida,
Because it
California,
sounds like he named our
Maryland.
college
I
teams to
mean,
me when you talk about Georgia, Alabama. Hey, who am I? You know what I'm saying?
here's what you do, Terrence. Here's what you do. Go to the NCAA website, look at some rosters. Look up the NCAA national champion for the past 10 years. And I want you to look at their rosters and tell me how many kids on those rosters are from Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Texas,
Woo,
California, Maryland.
woo.
Tell me how many kids are on those rosters. And that'll be the tail of the tape right there, my man. That'll be the tail of the tape right now. All right, man.
Terrence gets the
Let's
second
go on and
bath and
roll
beyond.
on.
Hold on. Before we go,
Let's get back to
Terrence,
11U, man.
Terrence, here's your bath and beyond. Second winner of the night. Here's your coupon. Go get your strawberry kiwi shower gel tonight and spray it in the air and shimmy through it as it comes down. All right, take
Oh,
off.
man.
Loving you.
All right, man. So let's go to 11U. Let's go to 11U. All right. So as we know, man, first invite 11U. We ain't even gotta fluff it up. You know who it is. Howard and Lambeau doing what they do. Number one 11U team in the country. They get the first official YNC invitation. Second
Congratulations.
invitation. Congratulations, Lambeau. Of course, man, doing what they've done. Like I said, man, considered, in my opinion, number one pound for pound youth football team in the country. National champion 3 of the past 4 years. The one year they didn't win, they got runner up. I mean, Lambeau is Lambeau, right? Second team, and a team that got very close to dethroning King Lambeau. Out of South Florida, FY Field, the Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes with the second invite, man. So, Jonah, you've got Lambeau, you've got the Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes, and if we're being honest, we got a couple other teams that have all gotten respectively close to Lambeau, but not
Yeah.
quite able to dethrone them. AG, let's put up the what if, man, and let's talk through this thing and see if these guys have a shot to dethrone CD Jags Lambeau. So on your 1-8 matchup, right, you've got Lambeau versus Bullet Academy out of Texas. On your 4-5 matchup, you've got RCU versus the Bessemer Tigers.
I like that. I like that matchup.
Yes, sir. And on your 2-7 matchup, you got the Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes versus Great Elite out of New York. And then in your 3-6 matchup, you have Atlanta Elite out of Georgia versus the North Philly Blackhawks out of Pennsylvania. So before I go into my next 4, though, People are going to say, Clayton, what happened to the Dark Knights out of North Carolina? Guess what, guys? They didn't turn in their roster, right? What happened to the Benson Bruins out of Washington? Guess what, guys? They didn't turn in their rosters. What happened to the NTB Bad Boys out of St. Louis and the Watkins Hornets? Guys, they didn't turn in their rosters. Your next four in, Louisiana Wave. Oh, I'm sorry. NTB Bad Boys did turn in their roster. I'm tripping. NTB
Hey,
Bad Boys did turn
bad
in their
boy say,
roster.
don't put us in the group with Terrence, bro.
My
Let us
bad. My
live.
bad, Bad
Don't
Boys.
put
My
us in the
bad.
group with
I'm
Terrence,
looking
bro.
at the wrong thing. All right, Miramar Wolverines, and then Maryland Heat. So Jonah, it's a lot of people that say this is just Lambeau's show to win again, man. But when I look at this bracket right here, and even with some of the next four in, I see some heat, brother. It's not going to be just easy walk in the park like many people think for Lambeau.
I agree. I mean, Atlanta Elite has been playing some tough football. As they went through the season, they played Lambeau very close, a very low scoring game. I've never seen Lambeau offense just been really contained as much as it was against Atlanta Elite. I think as they get older, they're trying to figure each other out, and they really not scared of Lambeau anymore. These kids know each other. There's a neighborhood rivalry. Something interesting is going to spark down here. Fort Lauderdale Hurricanes feel that they've just been a national champion that has not been crowned yet since the days they played back crew. A pass that goes up in the air. They threw a touchdown. I was on the sideline, Clay. They threw a touchdown with about 10 seconds left in the game. The touchdown got pulled back from Holden, and they just felt they deserved to be in that championship game from that day. So now that they put all these pieces together, now they got a running game, they got a passing game, they got a tough defense that hits. They called the zip 'em up boys for a reason. They be bodying people, brother, out on the football field. Then what can you say about Lambeau? Every challenge that has been presented to them, close
They
games,
handle.
big games, blowouts, they handle business at the end of the day. So no discount to the other teams. And then listen, RCU, we both know, with a kid like number 11, they can score with anybody in the country. Defensively, they just have to catch up what the Hurricanes are doing. They have to catch up what Atlanta Elite is doing. It's a lot of talent on this football field, man. So Bessemer Tigers, another team that can just beat a lot of teams any day. Another example of straight heat. Man, even if I wasn't part of the YNC, and if I didn't have a baby that played on none of these teams, bro, I would fly down to Wellington and just want to watch this because this will be legendary. This and just if I
Yep.
was a kid, if I was one of these 11U players, just to know I'm going to be part of part of this, it's going to be legendary. Some kid is going to be a star out of this. Some kid going to be on the Division I football field just thinking about back to this. Clay, this is crazy. This bracket is bananas. Like you said, we have a lot of football that's still left. You can maybe see the Waves sneak in there, the Bad Boys sneak in there. Philly got to still play football all the way through. But shout out to all the teams, and we may take this for granted, but as you can see, it's very necessary. Shout out to all the teams that followed up on their paperwork, handled their administration vibe, bigger than just football on the football field. And guys, football players, y'all gonna know this. Football is gonna always be bigger than just the X's and O's. If you really want to do this, do this, do this. You got to take care of your grades, your administrative side. No different here at YNC. So shout out to those teams who handle their business. That's a crazy bracket, Clay. I love it.
Most definitely. Most definitely. We're going to keep this thing rolling on to 12U. 12U, as you know, first invitation. I'm sure it's not nothing we need to guess on. Coach Moss and Ape Shit, right? Congratulations to the Georgia Rare Breeds, right? With the first 12U invitation right now, hands down, I think is unanimously everybody in the country, the most dominant 12U team in the country. I mean, going from coast to coast, to dominating everything in its way, right? So, who's going to be that second team, though, Jonah? Well, why not? The YNC Division II defending national champions, the Boynton Beach Bulldogs out of Florida, man. Congratulations to Boynton Beach as they get ready to make another run at a YNC championship, this time on the big stage in the same bracket with the Georgia Rare Breeds. Now, let's go and pop this what if bracket up, Jonah.
Let's do it.
And
Let's
let's
do it.
talk through this thing because it's going to be a lot of people asking about where's this team and where's that team. I'm going to tell you exactly where they at because that's what I'm here for. 12U What If in the 1 and 8 spot. Rare Breeds versus RDU. In the 4 and 5 spot,
Oh, we got a spelling correction we need on that,
BPSG.
Clay.
Yeah, PESG
So we got to change that
versus,
to PTSG, prime time.
oh, my bad,
PT, not
PTSG, my bad.
SG. Yep.
PTSG versus, and you see it there, the Miami Garden Ravens. You see exactly what it says, right?
Ooh.
All right. Then,
Ooh. Play with it
in
if
the
you want
2-7 spot, I know you've been wanting to talk about it. I know you want to talk about it, right? Then on the 2 and 7 spot, the Boynton Beach Bulldogs versus the Brooklyn Chiefs. And oh, Jonah, I forgot to invite 3 versus 7, City Life versus Air and AG. Oh, there you go. City Life Raptors invite on
Don't
12U.
play with
My
my
bad.
homeboy TJ. Don't play
Hey,
with my homeboy TJ.
don't play with TJ, man. City Life Raptors, the third 12U to receive their invitation to the YNC. Man, hold up. There you go, right there. Now let's go and go back to that bracket, Jonah. That's my bad. I forgot about City Life. I'm glad
But
AG been keeping me on it.
I can tell you what, Clay, you're gonna get to really see some of this kind of developing early. You're gonna have number one going against number four, October 22nd, man. That's coming up
Yes,
just in a
sir.
week.
Yes,
Number one
sir.
taking on number four, PTSG, Rare Breeds. I've already seen the flyers out. We want to look for it. We're gonna have the scouts out there. We want to see what it's gonna be. 1 versus 4. You know, it's been a lopsided so far, but listen, this is the time to go ahead and this is the perfect time for North Carolina to put their name on the map. Go down to
Most
Georgia,
definitely.
knock off Rare Breeds, and then you got something going. You know, I know it sounds easy. You know, the feat sounds easy just talking about it. No team has been able to figure them out all season. They've been dominant in every game that they played. Um, Rare Breeds have been like a sink in a heat and sink submarine. They just been trying to find anything that move that says 12U, find it, sink it as soon as they could. So I've never seen anything like it. They've assembled a team that's been extremely dominant, but you still got to play the football game. I never forget that year that I want to say that the Patriots undefeated. Randy Moss, Tom Brady, loaded,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yep.
Then they
Yep.
had, they just crown them. They're gonna be undefeated. They from the Super Bowl. They've been dominant, blew everybody up. Then they went against little Eli Manning from the New York Giants, who had said no chance. They knocked him off. So I'm not saying that's gonna happen against Rare Breeds, but you gotta play the football game. So shout out to Rare Breeds, PTSG getting it in October 22nd. Can't wait to see that game. But man, some great football here. Boynton Beach, the only team that's put multiple scores against Rare Breeds. Brooklyn Chiefs trying to get their mix in. We saw them in South Carolina. City Life, we see
Yep.
that they're really a tough team, not afraid. Air, listen, Air's undefeated. Now, have they played the quality in the top 4 or 5 teams yet? This is their time to get it in. Miami Garden Ravens. We saw 2 different type of Raven teams. We saw a Raven team that dominated the OG Ducks when they came down to South Florida. Then they played the first half of football with a healthy full Ravens team and dominated Southfield Falcons that first half with their full healthy team, 18-0 as a matter of fact. They lost some health to their key players. You know you got to have a depth playing 12U, but is that going to be the Miami Garden Ravens team that we see in the YNC? The one that was healthy against Southfield Falcons, the one that was healthy against OG Ducks? If so, if that's the Ravens team you see there, this 12U bracket has just became bananas. Ravens, City Life, Boynton Beach, RDU, Rare Breeds, Air. It's going to be an absolute, oh man, melee. It's going to be like
And
the
here's the crazy part,
WWE
Jonah.
steel cage match. You just chain up and can't lock the gate. Everybody locked in.
Here's the crazy part. Your next 4 in bring the heat as well. You've got the North Philly Blackhawks out of Pennsylvania, TCU out of Texas, Tampa Jags out of Florida, and Trey Man Elite, TME out of Florida. So a lot of you guys may be saying, hey, what happened to the Southfield Falcons? Well, of course, we know Southfield is going to go AYF, right? So there's no reason to put them in the bracket, not to mention they didn't turn in a roster because we know they're going AYF. What happened to the OG Ducks on 12U? OG Ducks didn't turn in a roster on 12U. What happened to, so we can't include them in this mix without those certified rosters. So again, guys, if it's wrong, Southfield, if you turned in a roster, OG Ducks, if you turned in a roster and maybe we done made a mistake on our end, send me your Zords of confirmation that you turned in that roster and we'll get you set up. But as of right now, man, this is what we're looking at on the what ifs of the YNC. And Jonah, we're gonna jump into this 13U, man, because it's gonna be a lot of questions about this 13U, brother.
Ooh.
It's gonna be a lot of questions about this 13U, right? So here we go. First 13U YNC invite goes out to the Real Deal Dream Chasers out of Florida. Boom, congratulations, RDDC, Real Deal Dream Chasers out of Florida. This is a team that I'm going to say arguably, because people have been debating about it, arguably the number one team in the country, right? Played some excellent football, took an early loss early in the preseason, came back and tried to avenge it and then ended up tying. And I guess some flight stuff kept them from having to, be able to finish that game. But what they've done is they've played and gotten some big wins on some other national opponents to strengthen their schedule, man. What do you think about this team here, Jonah?
Oh, tough team, man. Like you said, they all the way from preseason took one loss. Ever since then, they haven't looked back. They've been rolling. Been playing very dominated, and it was the two top teams that they just wanted to battle out. And they came down, and of course, Real Deal Dream Chasers out of Georgia took it on TMT in Fort Lauderdale at St. Thomas Aquinas. Exciting game because they ran out of time, couldn't finish the game. That game ended a tie. But man, this is a team that we just feel that can play with anybody in the country. And this 13U has been sometimes consistent or inconsistent. This has been a team that's been playing consistent football after preseason all the way through the regular season. They've just been playing lights out football.
Gotcha. Oh, did I make a mistake and say that RDDC was from Florida? My bad. No, they definitely from Atlanta, Georgia. That's a given. All right. So now the second team to receive their invitation on 13U. West Orlando Jaguars. Congratulations to the West Orlando Jaguars. Another team, man. Big time player in Cam.
Yep.
Arguably the most electrifying player on 13U, if not in the country, man. This is a team that I watched early in the preseason here in Texas, and I can't wait to see them play now in December and see exactly how much they've improved since then.
Yeah, well, you're talking about that. You look at Cam just really took over the last two games. Late in the game, in the fourth quarter, you see him on the screen play, turn it up for 26 yards, just exploded. And this is a team that, won some big games, but took a loss against a team that they wasn't feeling ranked, but then came and they beat a team like TMT. This is a team that has all the potential of the world, but there's two different Jag teams, in my opinion. You got it when they're on, they're a hard team to beat. When they're not on, then they just had an average type of offense. I think they kind of worked out all their kinks, and I think this is the new team that you'll see going to the preseason, that this team for the last 3 years, they've been putting pieces together. I think Tay has really gotten his team, and the head coach has gotten his team where they wanted at. Expected them to be dangerous in the YNC championship gauntlet.
And a third invitation. We're going to do a third invitation, Jonah. Third invitation to the YNC on 13U. Congratulations, Maryland Heat. And I believe they call themselves the Mob, right? Right, Jonah? Am I right?
That's what they call themselves.
Maryland Heat, the Mob. Congratulations on your 13U official invitation to the Youth National Championship. Now, I already know where all the questions are coming right now, right? I know where the questions are coming from. Let's go ahead and put up the what if bracket, and we can talk through this thing, man. If the YNC was to start today, as you can see, you would have Real Deal Dream Chasers versus 4 or 5 spot. You'll have St. Louis Elite versus the North Carolina Giants. In the 2-7 spot, you have the West Orlando Jaguars versus the OC Buckeyes. And in the 3-6 spot, you have Maryland Heat versus Southwest Junior Marlins out of Texas. Now, Clayton, what happened to TMT, the Lauderdale Lake Vikings? Clayton, what happened to the Gwen Cherry Bulls? Neither team turned in a Zorts roster. So we cannot certify them for nationals. Wish they had. If you guys did, and maybe there's a clerical error on our side, please let me know, and I'll gladly dig into it. But as of right now, there are no Zorts rosters that were turned in before September 1st, I'm sorry. And next four in on 13U, OG Ducks out of California, Brick City Lions, the Alpha Dogs, and the Rare Raiders hanging on life support to grab one of them YNC spots, Jonah. Man, even though you don't have a Gwen Cherry or a TMT in this bracket, man, there's no way you can argue that whoever comes out of this bracket is not the undisputed number one 13U team in the country.
Well, listen, just by you having RDDC and West Orlando Jags, between those two teams, they kind of just defeated every team that's out there in this bracket. So with them both being in the same bracket here, you're going to definitely have what we call an undisputed champion that they're coming on two different sides of the brackets. You talk about West Orlando Jags, beat every team that you can figure out there in the top three, only had one loss to one of those lower teams, which they have an opportunity to avenge. And same thing with RDDC. So, man, it's just something that I think that as they work through these brackets and as these weeks progress, OG Ducks, can they get their team together? Can they go ahead and get everything going as they want to need it? And can Alpha Dogs kind of put a last push to the season to kind of make it? Otherwise, your top three are really the front runners. You're looking at Real Deal Dream Chasers. You're looking at West Orlando Jags and the Mob really making a push. Now, we'll get to see in a couple weeks or next week, how will St. Louis Elite match up against Real Deal? This is our first look of them really having national play. Will they deserve to be in this top echelon of 13U? Listen, this is their opportunity to prove themselves. They can shut up all the naysayers and say, you know what, we belong. We're definitely going to take it. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the country who can lead us to one of these things, or it can go south for them. So let's just see how it happens out on the gridiron. But besides that, man, exciting football at 13 and under, man. This is going to be amazing football, man, that I can just say it's going to be fast-paced action.
It's going to be a good one, man. I can't wait to watch these kids get at it, bro. All right, so we're going to wrap up 14U real fast, man, so we don't keep everybody up. First YNC Invitational 14U. You know who it is. Number one 14U team in the country. OC Buckeyes out of California. You know Coach Les and company are going to come ready to work, ready to get that YNC championship that they thought that they were going to win last year. They were favored to win, and it slipped from between their fingers, man.
Yeah.
Second.
So I don't think
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I don't think Les gonna let that happen again, man. They focused. Them boys are focused.
All right. Second, 14U, YNC Invitation, and our Division II YNC defending champions, Gin Elite out of Ohio. Talk with Coach, talk with Ted Ginn, man, and they are going to try to do it on two platforms. So, again, I had that same conversation with them, man. Make sure that you are particular about the rest of your team, injuries, how deep you are, rest, travel, et cetera, et cetera. They want to do it on a couple platforms, man. And, of course, at the YNC, we're going to try to support as much as possible. So congratulations to Gin Elite. And, AG, man, let's put up this 14U what if and see how this whole thing could go down on the 14U. So as you can see, in the 1-8 matchup, OC Buckeyes versus the Lackwood Spartans out of Florida. In the 4-5 matchup,
that's Lakewood. I got to get that spelling check. Lakewood.
Got to get a spell check. Lakewood Spartans out of Florida. On the 4-5, the OG Ducks versus Osceola Cowboys. On the 2-7, Gin Elite versus the Huskies out of New Jersey. And then on the 3-6 vibe, Vegas Strong representing Nevada versus Coach Bird and the Maryland Heat. Jonah, man, this could be one of our most competitive 14U brackets ever. Now, I will say this. OC Buckeyes do look like they're head and shoulders above everybody else. But as you know, in the YNC, it's who's hot on those days that's really gonna
Yeah.
make a difference.
Well, we seen a couple years ago. You saw Vegas Strong and OC Buckeyes and OG Ducks all played between both platforms a couple years ago. One would beat one on one platform and one beat the other on the other platform. So it goes to just what you just said. It's who's hot on that particular day, because these same teams beat each other just in days apart in two different platforms. So I think that's going to be consistent here once again. Who's hot for that particular weekend? And when you're putting that many games in your body trying to play between two platforms, there's a lot of things that can go right for you, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong for you as well. So we'll see how that all rivels out, man. But I got to tell you, exciting bracket for 14 under. From 6U to 14U, Clay, is straight action. It's going to be a crazy weekend in December. And I got to tell you, probably one of our best, I want to say, matchups consistent from all age groups. I love these matchups from top to bottom.
That's it, man. So, all right, we've got it set. 21 invitations issued out tonight, right? You'll have those invitations in your email address within the next 48 hours. And then remember, you have 48 hours from the time you receive it in your inbox to capitalize on it and go through the steps to lock in your spot. If not, then what's going to happen is selection committee, Jonah and I are going to get together and we will release some more invites, right? Most
Yep.
importantly, take advantage of your administrative stuff. Second most important thing, make sure you keep winning, because just because you're on the what if bracket doesn't mean you can't get knocked off with a loss. Just because you received the invitation doesn't mean you can't get knocked off with a loss, right? So the most important thing is you've got to keep winning. You got to handle your administrative stuff, man. And we hope to see all you guys down in South Florida at the YMCA.
Yep, man. So, like Clay said, man, take care of your paperwork. Most important thing now, if you got that invite, jump on it right now, man. Next week, same place, same time. We're going to be giving out these invites nonstop all the way up to the YNC Championship. We'll be watching these teams this weekend. Good luck to the teams that's putting it out. Good luck to a lot of those Super Bowl games that's coming up and state championships that's coming up as well. We'll definitely be watching you guys all the way up to the top. And, man, once again, if you feel like your Zorts was an error, reach out to the crew. Make sure that you can look up when it was certified. It's going to give you a certification date and time so we can make sure that your kids are eligible to play on one of the most competitive platforms, if not the most competitive platform when it comes to youth football. On behalf of Football Uncut, I'm Jonah Willett, my partner in crime, Clayton Guillory, and my man Al on the ones and twos. Y'all hold it down. Same place, same time next week, right here on Football Uncut.